Hiya. At the risk of sounding like I'm going to start with a fairy tale, at the bottom of my garden there's a chicken shed. It's quite a large structure, a big caged part, and a proper hut made of wood attached to it. Presumably where they actually spent the night or whatever, but I've no idea. I mean, at the moment, it's certainly not containing any chickens, and I don't foresee it ever doing so. But one of the things that impresses me about it is that the wooden part has been covered over by Second World War oil drums, flattened and nailed on to protect it, waterproof it, and maybe even just to strengthen it. Right? And it looks impressive, ugly, but impressive. And I think it's almost a historical monument, and it's not alone around here. There's quite a few barns with bits and pieces nailed on them, but round the corner, a couple of 100 yards away, there's one which is almost entirely made up of oil cans flattened and nailed onto the wooden structure, and that is impressive. I noticed that it stands out, and I salute the people who did it. You imagine at the closing stages of the war, two armies rampaging across this part of the world, and all the tanks and things requiring huge amounts of fuel, and the drums just discarded, and the locals making the most of what they had, because an awful lot of what they had disappeared previously, taken by these two armies. So I decided I'd make a little poem about this. Actually, it just came to me. It was one of those things when I was just looking at the chicken shed, and I thought, oh yes, I know what to do. So, the oil drums of war. The oil drums of war, empty, spent, discarded, as tanks, armies move on. Detritus, one man's rubbish, beaten flat and wall-nailed to leaking barns, sheds, and gable ends of homes. Repurposed as water butts, half cut into barbecues and rustic flower beds. Collected by salvage carts and flat-bodied vans, unwitting tellers of history, waste, heroes, horrors. Drink to everlasting peace from cannon shell tankards. Fail to educate the ignorant about their history. Make glories in film. Censor the scattered body bits of lives once human. Roll out the barrel. Rinse and repeat. And it seems to me like we are on the very edge of another cataclysmic war. And like so many wars before it, it need never arise and will solve very little, if anything. Just ask yourself where all those empires went and why. Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Austro-Hungarian, British, all gone. And rightfully so. And gone because the people wanted them gone. So there is hope and optimism in the hands of the people. Drink from tankards. I've actually got one of those cannon shell tankards. Inherited from my father. And my grandfather had one made from a First World War shell, and my father from a Second World War shell. I don't want my kids to inherit one made from a Third World War shell. On that lovely and optimistic note, I'll leave you. Bye.